Hey y'all, welcome back to the Faithful Farmer Momma. Happy 4th of July weekend, and I hope that you have a great Independence Day with your family and friends, celebrating the freedoms that we have here in this country. Today I wanted to share a little something with you because I know many of us have gardens that we've started, so I want to share a recipe with you to help you use some of the food that's growing in your garden. If you haven't before, please go down below and find the subscribe button along with the little bell. You're going to want to click those so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, which include things about the farm, recipes, sewing projects, DIY, and decorating. I'm so glad you're here. We have an abundance of food growing for our family in our garden. And I think a lot of times we grow things and we forget what we need to do with it. So I do not like zucchini. And I do not like squash. But yet every year I do grow them because one of my family members really loves squash and the other two sort of like zucchini. I am not one of those family members. So one of the things that I wanted to do today is share with you a recipe for a stuffed zucchini that makes taco night a little bit better for you, but still so delicious. So these are just a few of the squash and zucchini that we've picked from the garden over the past couple of days. I'm going to go ahead and make rice in the microwave. I use my Pampered Chef rice cooker. And I am using ground beef we buy from a local farm. I don't buy ground beef in the store anymore. So I actually am going to add taco seasoning, which I make myself, to the ground beef. You can find the recipe for this a few videos back. So I use my Pampered Chef mix and chop, and I will actually brown the ground beef until the pink is just about gone before adding my taco seasoning. I add my taco seasoning and let it simmer a little bit and then turn it off and let it cool. In the meantime, I will go ahead and grate my cheese. I do not buy pre-shredded cheese in a bag. We buy it in blocks. This here is Munster. I use Munster in place of mozzarella or any other kind of string cheese. And I will grate it myself because the pre-shredded string cheese, they actually put silicone and sawdust. Here are some onions that I've chopped. I have some red pepper. You could use jalapeno, and you can also use olives. You can put anything on there or in this mixture that you normally would put on tacos. So I am grating the cheese myself. I do shred that whole block, and I will put the remainder of it inside of a Ziploc bag and put it in the fridge for later. I'm going to preset my oven to 385 degrees. Here I'm using a melon baller to hollow out the squash and zucchini. I cut them in half as much as I can in the center. Squash is kind of hard because it has that little curved neck. And then I just use my melon baller here and actually scoop out the centers. Some people like to eat these. I guess you could leave them in and then layer stuff on top, but my chickens really like these, so this actually helps us too by giving them some good, healthy food. I continue to hollow out both sides of the squash just by using the melon baller. You could use a little knife or any other tool that you may have. Here is our zucchini. This zucchini was really large. I actually didn't see it in the garden, so it's much bigger than I normally would use, but it actually is still very good. So again, I'm just cutting out the seeds and hollowing out the center so that I can stuff it like I would a bell pepper. In my bowl, I'm adding my ground beef, which is cooled off. I will then add the rice. Now that it is done, it is totally cooked. I could just eat it like this, but I do want to add it to the meat so it's actually more filling. The rest I will save for a different recipe later in the week. And I will mix the meat and the rice together before I add in all of the other ingredients. I then add onions, I also add my peppers. I would add my jalapenos and my black olives here as well if I was putting them in this recipe. I then will add seasonings. I do add salt and pepper. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of a garlic rub or an onion salt, but today I didn't add those. Sometimes we'll also add a little bit of extra taco seasoning in there so that everything has that same flavor. And last, I do add my cheese. I do mix some cheese in the actual stuffing part so that it all adheres together, but then I do add more on top, and you'll see that in a little bit. So I just mix these really good together in my bowl, and then I'll get ready to stuff my zucchini and my squash. I think I could eat it just like this. So I get my stone or any kind of baking pan that these will fit in, and I lay these out so that they will not tip over, that they fit in there perfectly. This pan actually worked really well for this recipe. And then I just continue to stuff them by filling in the holes. It's very, very similar to when you make stuffed peppers. You just keep filling the holes until the zucchini and the squash are totally full. I don't flatten them. I like the air between, and I do make them mounded so that you're getting plenty of meat and plenty of rice to fill you, along with getting a lot of good things like zucchini and peppers and onions. Today this recipe will actually feed 7 of us. And then I just sprinkle a little more cheese on top and place it in my oven, which, as I said, was 385. Sometimes I will go up to 400. And then let it cook for about 30 to 45 minutes until my zucchini and my squash feel tender to the touch. Cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and a sour cream mixed with cumin, garlic salt, and onion salt, and a little bit of chili powder. They are scrumptious. Y'all, these fed 7 people, and we still had a lot left over. Serve it with a little guacamole, a little bit of salad on the side, little cheese on top. Absolutely delicious. Well, thanks again for being here today, guys, and I really hope that this recipe may make it to your table, whether you're growing zucchini or not. You can use this recipe, like I said, with squash or zucchini. So I would hope that you might want to try and grow some of these. They're super simple and super easy to grow, even in pots or on the back porch of your apartment or in your suburban home. They make a great addition to growing food for your family. Thanks, guys. You have a great Independence Day. Bye, y'all.